My beloved child, listen to me with the fullness of your spirit, because what I'm about to reveal is not a message that enters every heart. It is a message that has been aching to reach you, knocking on the gates of your soul, waiting for the exact second when heaven finally whispered, "Let them hear it now." You thought you found this by chance, but nothing about this moment is accidental, because this message has been chasing you through silence, through confusion, through the nights when you asked, "God, are you even listening?" And through the days when you tried to pretend you were strong even though your heart felt like it was collapsing in your chest. My child, breathe, because what is unfolding inside you right now is the first sign, that sudden pull, that strange tightness in your chest, that feeling that something is coming, something is shifting, something is rising from the ashes of everything you thought was dead. This is not just a script. This is heaven leaning close to your ear, finally answering the prayer you whispered in the dark when no one was watching. And I know you've been waiting. I know you've been holding on, even when your fingers were trembling. I know you've been saying, "Just give me one sign." And heaven is now saying, "Here it is." My beloved child, the reason this message is heavy, almost overwhelming, is because it carries a confession from the divine, something you were never supposed to hear until your spirit was ready. You have been walking through a silent war, fighting battles that were never meant to destroy you but to awaken you. You survived storms you don't talk about, heartbreaks you buried under a smile, betrayals you pretended didn't hurt, and loneliness that felt like it was eating you from the inside. Yet you kept going. Yet you kept believing, yet you kept whispering, "God, I trust you," even when everything around you was falling apart. That alone opened a gate in the heavens that had been sealed for years. And now, my child, the truth that is coming is not gentle. It is fierce, it is raw, it is divine, and it is going to confront everything you thought you lost. There is something you need to know. You were never abandoned. Even in your darkest nights, an unseen hand was holding you, guiding you, pulling you away from disasters you didn't even know were meant for you. You are here, reading this, because heaven intervened more times than you can count. When you cried, thinking no one noticed, heaven recorded every tear. When you said, "I can't keep doing this," angels stood on each side of your spirit and whispered strength back into you. When people spoke against you, heaven rewrote the consequences. When you broke down, heaven rebuilt you silently. My child, the second sign is emerging, even as your eyes move across these words. That strange, heavy feeling of being seen, truly seen, after so long. It is uncomfortable, I know, because you have spent years being strong for everyone, carrying weights no one understood, healing people while you were bleeding inside, pretending your heart wasn't tired, your soul wasn't weary, and your faith wasn't trembling. But heaven is now exposing the truth you've been hiding from yourself. You deserve a breakthrough that doesn't break you first, a love that does not abandon you, a life that does not suffocate you. You deserve divine intervention, and it is already on its way. My beloved child, I need you to understand this. What's coming next will make sense of every confusing moment, every closed door, every delay, every disappointment, and every silent season you endured, wondering why God was taking so long. The answer is simple but divine. The blessings that belong to you required a stronger version of you, a wiser version of you, a version of you that could carry greatness without collapsing under its weight. And that version is rising right now. You are stepping into a season where everything that was taken from you will return multiplied.
You are stepping into a season where the people who overlooked you will wonder how you rose so suddenly. You are stepping into a season where your tears will transform into unexpected blessings. My child, heaven is preparing to flip your entire story. And before this part ends, let me reveal the first hidden truth. Someone connected to your destiny has been feeling a spiritual pull toward you, a confession rising deep in their soul, a longing they tried to bury, a truth they tried to silence. But heaven has stirred their heart, and their spirit has begun calling your name in ways they don't understand. That stirring, that unexplainable tug, that sudden emotional wave you felt recently, that was their soul reaching for yours. And heaven is saying, prepare yourself, my child, because what is hidden is about to surface. What you've been waiting for, what you've been praying for, what you've been silently aching for is moving toward you even now. But with every divine revelation comes a divine warning. Don't look back at the places that drained you. Don't entertain the people who tore your spirit apart. Don't return to the version of yourself that had to beg for love, validation, or attention. Heaven is preparing you for something big, something powerful, something written into your destiny long before you were born. And this is only the beginning. My beloved child, breathe again. My beloved child, breathe slowly and open the deepest part of your spirit, because what you are about to feel is not ordinary emotion. It is the weight of a truth that has been circling your life quietly, waiting for the exact moment when heaven could finally uncover it without breaking you. There were seasons where you thought you were losing everything, seasons where people walked away without explanation, seasons where opportunities slipped through your fingers even when you gave everything you had, and you wondered if it was punishment, bad luck, or some invisible curse chasing your steps. But my child, what you never realized was that heaven was pulling you out of places that were secretly poisoning your destiny. You cried over people who were never meant to stay longer than their lesson. You fought for doors that would have destroyed the very peace you were praying for. And you chased connections that were designed only for a chapter, not the whole story. Yet you blamed yourself for endings that were actually divine protection. There were moments when you felt a sudden discomfort around certain people, an unexplained heaviness in certain environments, an intuition that whispered, something is wrong here. And you ignored it because your heart was too pure, too loyal, too willing to believe the best in others. But that whisper was heaven warning you that someone in your life carried intentions that did not match their smile. My beloved child, heaven shielded you from betrayals you never saw, from envy spoken behind your back, from people who pretended to clap for you but privately celebrated your setbacks. You think you know how much danger you survived, but if heaven showed you the full list of what was about to touch you, your knees would fall to the ground in shock. There were nights when you couldn't sleep and you thought it was anxiety, but it was the divine realm blocking certain energies from reaching you. There were days when plans collapsed unexpectedly and you called it bad timing, but it was the spiritual realm removing you seconds before something harmful would have unfolded. Every delay you hated, every silence you feared, every door that shut so loudly you felt it echo in your chest, all of them were heaven's hands shifting your path before the wrong thing could claim your future. You felt alone, not because you were abandoned, but because heaven removed the wrong people so the right ones could finally see you. You felt stuck, not because you were failing, but because you were being prepared for a higher level that required a different version of you.
You felt rejected, not because you were unworthy, but because your spirit outgrew places you didn't realize were too small for your calling. And now, my child, heaven is revealing something even deeper. Someone in your past was not just bad for you, they were standing in the exact spot of your destiny's gate, blocking blessings meant for your name. Their energy interfered with your alignment. Their intentions tangled your spiritual path, and their presence confused the signals heaven was sending you. That unexplained resistance, that sudden heaviness, that strange drop in your spirit every time you got close to your breakthrough, it wasn't coincidence. It was interference. But heaven, in its mercy, cut the cords one by one, even when it hurt you, even when you begged for certain connections to stay, even when you didn't understand what was being removed. And now, as your soul reads this message, heaven is standing above your life like a warrior, clearing the final remnants of old spiritual debris that have been clinging to your path for years. The confusion that followed you is lifting. The emotional cycles that repeated are breaking. The heaviness you normalized is dissolving. You are stepping into a phase where the people around you will match your spirit, not drain it. You are entering a season where your heart will no longer beg for the love it deserves. You are being aligned with relationships that carry honesty, clarity, purity, and divine timing. And more than anything, heaven is preparing to reveal the truth behind why certain things collapsed so suddenly, because the collapse was the cure. My beloved child, there is something heaven has been holding back, waiting for the right moment when your spirit was finally strong enough to hear it without breaking down the way you once would have. That moment is now, and what comes next will make your breath pause for a second. Your destiny has been protected in ways you never imagined, but the real revelation, the one that changes everything, is rising toward you like a wave of divine truth. My beloved child, and now I am going to reveal.
My beloved child, steady your heart, because what is rising inside you right now is the awakening heaven has waited years to trigger, that deep trembling in your soul, that sudden pressure behind your eyes, that strange mix of fear and hope you can't explain. All of it is happening because a hidden truth buried beneath layers of pain is now pushing its way toward the surface, demanding to be seen, demanding to be felt, demanding to be acknowledged after being silenced for far too long. You have spent so much of your life carrying wounds you didn't deserve, pretending you were fine when you were quietly breaking, acting strong while your spirit whispered for help in ways only heaven could hear. And through every silent tear, every breath you swallowed to keep from crying, every memory that still tightens your chest when you think no one is watching, heaven stood beside you, recording each moment, not to punish you, but to prepare a divine compensation so powerful that it will rewrite the meaning of every heartbreak you endured. My child, you have no idea how many times your heart almost reached its breaking point, how many times you came close to giving up, how many times you stood at the edge of emotional collapse, how many times you said, "I can't take this anymore," while life kept handing you burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. And yet, even when you were running on empty, even when your faith was hanging by a thread, even when your strength was nothing more than muscle memory, you still kept moving, still kept trying, still kept loving, still kept hoping. That resilience, my child, did not go unnoticed. Heaven watched you heal others while you were bleeding.
Heaven watched you offer loyalty to those who never valued it. Heaven watched you pour love into people who didn't even know how to hold it. Heaven watched you smile with a breaking heart, laugh with a trembling soul, and show kindness to those who didn't deserve access to you. And now, heaven is preparing to return everything you lost in ways you never expected. But before that restoration arrives, something must be revealed. The truth behind why your heart has felt heavier these past months, why your spirit has felt restless, why certain memories keep resurfacing out of nowhere, why certain people suddenly appear in your thoughts even though you buried them beneath time and hurt. My beloved child, something or someone has been spiritually tied to your destiny, a connection formed long before your conscious mind understood it, a bond heaven tried to protect even when your earthly experiences made it feel impossible or painful. You felt this bond as a tug in your chest, a quiet echo in moments of silence, a strange ache you could never fully explain. And every time you tried to move forward, something pulled you back emotionally, not because you were weak, but because the soul knows what the mind is not yet ready to understand. There is someone whose spirit has been searching for yours in the unseen realm, someone who carries emotions they never healed, words they never said, truth they never confessed, and heaven has been stirring their heart with unusual intensity. The reason you felt emotional spikes recently, the reason old wounds resurfaced, the reason you felt a strange spiritual presence around you, it wasn't coincidence. Their soul has been calling out, reaching through the silence, vibrating toward your name with a frequency heaven is no longer able to suppress. But heaven didn't reveal this truth earlier because if it came too soon, it would have shattered you. If it came too late, it would have missed its divine timing. But now your spirit has reached a point where it can finally hold the weight of this revelation without collapsing. My child, what you don't know is that heaven has been arranging signs around you, subtle movements, emotional shifts, sudden changes in your energy, small but powerful synchronicities that were meant to prepare you for something larger than your understanding. You are not imagining the intensity you feel. You are not imagining the spiritual activity around you. You are not imagining the emotional waves that hit you out of nowhere. These are signals, divine signals, marking the moment where heaven finally begins to reveal the hidden chapters of your destiny. Your life is about to change in a way that feels sudden but has been orchestrated for years. The people meant for your future are aligning. The truth meant for your heart is rising. The blessings meant for your name are rearranging themselves to reach you without delay this time. And the spiritual bond you thought was over, forgotten, or irrelevant is about to unfold in a way that will leave you speechless. My beloved child, you are walking into a revelation that will make every moment of confusion make sense, every heartbreak feel purposeful, every delay feel divine. Your spirit can already feel the shift, even if your mind cannot explain it. And now, with heaven watching closely and the spiritual realm holding its breath, and now I am going to reveal. My beloved child, close your eyes for a moment, not to escape the world around you, but to feel the shift heaven has begun inside your soul. Because this part of your journey is not about what happened to you, but about what has been building within you quietly, secretly, sacredly, without your awareness. There is a transformation rising from the deepest parts of your spirit, a renewal that began the moment you stopped questioning your worth and started questioning the pain that tried to break you. You felt it recently, an emotional storm that came without warning, a sudden heaviness in your heart that you couldn't explain, a moment where you felt you were on the edge of something huge, even though your life looked the same on the outside.
That wasn't confusion, my child. It was alignment. It was the spiritual rumbling that happens when heaven begins rearranging your destiny, shifting energies, redirecting paths, and pulling you away from everything that was draining your purpose. For so long, you believed you were stuck because you were not strong enough, not wise enough, or not ready enough. But the truth is that heaven had you paused so that your spirit could catch up to the future waiting for you. You were not stuck, you were being refined. You were not forgotten, you were being prepared. You were not delayed, you were being aligned with something far bigger than what you lost. My beloved child, there are wounds inside you that you healed alone, in silence, with no applause, no comfort, no one noticing, except the God who watched you pick yourself up again and again. Heaven saw the nights when you cried quietly because you didn't want anyone to worry. Heaven saw the moments when you smiled, even though your chest felt hollow. Heaven saw the days when you held other people together while your own soul was barely holding on. And because you carried that pain with grace instead of bitterness, heaven is now turning your silent suffering into loud blessings. Every tear you shed in private planted a seed in the spiritual realm, and now those seeds are breaking through the surface. You are stepping into a season where what was denied will be returned,
What was taken will be restored, and what was broken will be rebuilt in a form you never imagined. But before this new chapter opens, heaven is pressing something on your heart, something you've avoided, something you've tried to bury, something you've told yourself to ignore. It is the truth about why your spirit felt so heavy, why your emotions have been unpredictable, why you've been feeling someone's presence in moments of silence, why your dreams and thoughts have been shifting in unusual ways. My beloved child, there is a spiritual echo tied to your soul, a vibration from someone whose energy has been intertwined with your destiny for longer than you realized. You tried to move on, tried to let go, tried to convince yourself that certain connections were over, but heaven kept sending you dreams, signs, sudden memories, and unexplained emotions, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Because what you thought was closure was only a pause in a divine story that was not finished yet. Someone has been awakened emotionally, spiritually, and energetically in a way they cannot explain. Their soul has been stirred, their thoughts disrupted, their peace shaken, all because heaven has begun to realign their path with yours. And the reason you felt sudden waves of heaviness recently, the reason your heart suddenly tightened without explanation, the reason your spirit felt restless, it was because their emotions were pushing into your energy field, reaching for you without their conscious awareness. Your souls have been communicating in silence, across distance, through invisible threads woven by divine timing. But heaven would not allow this truth to surface until your heart was strong enough not to be overwhelmed. And now it is. Now your spirit is ready to understand why the universe kept pulling you towards something you thought you had outgrown. There is a reason the connection still feels alive in the spiritual realm. There is a reason heaven protected this bond, even when life pulled you apart. There is a reason you felt their presence even in their absence. My beloved child, you are now standing at the doorway of revelation. What comes next will not just answer questions, it will rewrite your understanding of your own destiny. It will expose hidden emotions, unspoken truths, and divine intentions that were kept away from you to protect your heart until this moment. Something powerful is about to be unveiled, something that will explain why your soul has been preparing itself, why your dreams have shifted, why your intuition has been louder, why your spirit has been vibrating differently. My beloved child, and now I will uncover what was hidden.
My beloved child, let your spirit settle as these words enter you, because what is taking shape around your life right now is not a coincidence, not imagination, not emotional confusion. It is the divine unveiling of a truth that has been waiting behind the veil of your destiny, and heaven has chosen this exact moment to let it rise. You have walked through seasons where you felt unseen, despite giving everything you had. Seasons where your loyalty was taken for granted, where your innocence was misunderstood, where your intentions were twisted, where your silence was misread. And yet through it all, you kept your heart soft, your character pure, and your faith alive, even when your own soul felt exhausted. You, my child, were never weak. You were chosen. And the weight you carried was not punishment. It was preparation. Every painful ending carved space inside you for something bigger. Every unanswered prayer strengthened the foundation heaven is now building upon. Every delay forced you to grow into the person capable of holding the blessings meant for your name. What you didn't realize was that heaven wasn't just shaping your future. Heaven was also reshaping your past, rewriting spiritual agreements, dissolving old energies, breaking generational patterns, and removing anything that could contaminate the purpose planted inside you. My beloved child, the heaviness you felt these last weeks, that sudden emotional pressure, that tight ache in your chest, those unexpected waves of sadness or longing, they were not random. They were signals of a spiritual shift because something connected to you on a soul level began to awaken. Even before you knew what was happening, your spirit sensed the tremor. You didn't understand it, but you felt it. You didn't see it, but your intuition responded. You didn't have proof, but the energy was undeniable. Because somewhere in the unseen realm, someone's heart cracked open in a way they did not expect. You were the thought they tried to silence. You were the emotion they tried to suppress. You were the memory they could no longer outrun. Heaven has been stirring this person's spirit so forcefully that their emotional waves spilled over into your energy. That sudden moment when you felt someone thinking of you, it was real. That ache that came without reason, it was theirs. That unexplainable pull toward the past, it was the echo of their awakening. Their soul has been wrestling with truth, longing, regret, realization, and a deep confession heaven has not allowed them to speak yet. But the spiritual connection never died. It merely went silent until divine timing revived it. My beloved child, heaven removes what is harmful, but protects what is destined. And this connection, no matter how complicated, painful, or unfinished it once was, carried a divine blueprint that could not be erased by distance, silence, or human misunderstanding. You thought it was over, but heaven simply paused it. You thought it was forgotten, but heaven preserved it. You thought it was meaningless, but heaven recorded every moment because it was tied to your soul's evolution. Now, heaven is pulling back the curtain because you are finally ready to hear what your spirit has known for years. There are truths about this person that you were never meant to see before. Truths that would have overwhelmed you, truths that would have confused you, truths that would have broken you if they came too early. But now your heart is stronger, your spirit is wiser, and your soul is stable enough to face the revelation without losing yourself. And the truth is this: someone has been spiritually tethered to your journey, even from afar, and heaven is beginning to align both of your paths, not out of nostalgia, but out of destiny. Their transformation has begun.
You are stepping into a season where the people who overlooked you will wonder how you rose so suddenly. You are stepping into a season where your tears will transform into unexpected blessings. My child, heaven is preparing to flip your entire story. And before this part ends, let me reveal the first hidden truth. Someone connected to your destiny has been feeling a spiritual pull toward you. A confession rising deep in their soul, a longing they tried to bury, a truth they tried to silence. But heaven has stirred their heart, and their spirit has begun calling your name in ways they don't understand. That stirring, that unexplainable tug, that sudden emotional wave you felt recently, that was their soul reaching for yours. And heaven is saying, prepare yourself, my child, because what is hidden is about to surface. What you've been waiting for, what you've been praying for, what you've been silently aching for is moving toward you even now. But with every divine revelation comes a divine warning. Don't look back at the places that drained you. Don't entertain the people who tore your spirit apart. Don't return to the version of yourself that had to beg for love, validation, or attention. Heaven is preparing you for something big, something powerful, something written into your destiny long before you were born. And this is only the beginning, my beloved child. Breathe again. Their heart is softening. Their understanding is deepening. Their spirit is finally recognizing what heaven has been trying to show them. And what you felt as confusion was actually the vibration of their awakening. But heaven cannot release all of this at once. Your heart must receive it layer by layer, truth by truth, revelation by revelation, at the pace your spirit can hold without collapsing. And now, as the atmosphere around you thickens and the divine realm stands still, the next layer is rising to the surface. My beloved child, And now the truth is about to break open. My beloved child, prepare your heart, because what you are stepping into now is the deepest part of the divine revelation, the place where heaven stops speaking softly and begins to shake the spiritual ground beneath your feet, not to frighten you, but to awaken you to something you were never meant to live without understanding. You have carried so much alone, more than anyone around you will ever know. Battles in your mind, storms in your heart, wars in your spirit, all while pretending you were fine because you didn't want to burden anyone or be judged for being human. You stood tall while your soul trembled. You kept going while exhaustion pressed against your bones. You held faith even when your heart whispered doubt. And because you kept walking through seasons that would have broken others, heaven is now peeling back the layer of destiny that was protected until your spirit matured enough to receive it. My beloved child, the reason your emotions have been so intense lately, the reason your spirit has felt unsettled, the reason your dreams have shifted and your intuition has sharpened, is that heaven is preparing to expose the spiritual truth behind the path you walked blindly for so long. This truth is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to free you. There are things you survived that you never understood, things you felt but couldn't explain, and things you sensed even when your mind doubted itself. Heaven watched you absorb heartbreak after heartbreak, loss after loss, disappointment after disappointment, and through every moment you whispered, "Why me?" The divine answered in silence, "Because you are chosen." Not chosen to suffer, but chosen to transform, chosen to rise, chosen to carry a calling that required the fire you walked through. And now the fire has come full circle. But there is something else, something your soul has been brushing against without fully seeing, a spiritual interference that was placed on your path by someone who carried unresolved pain, suppressed emotions, unspoken feelings, and broken intentions. My beloved child, this person did not just leave an emotional impact, they left a spiritual imprint. Their presence left a vibration on your soul that lingered long after they were gone. The connection didn't just fade, it sank deeper, hiding beneath your consciousness while affecting your destiny in ways invisible to the human eye. Heaven had to step in. Heaven had to separate you. Heaven had to place distance. Not because the bond was wrong, but because the timing was wrong. They were not ready. You were not ready. The alignment wasn't stable enough. The energy wasn't pure enough to merge with your destiny yet. So heaven pulled you apart to protect what you did not know needed protecting. Your spiritual alignment. But distance did not break the soul tie. Time did not dissolve the energy. Silence did not erase the pull. You felt it in moments you couldn't explain, a sudden heaviness, a sudden ache, a sudden memory, a sudden pressure in your chest, as if something or someone was reaching for you through the unseen.
And they were. Their awakening has been happening quietly, without your awareness, without their understanding, without permission from either of you, because heaven has reached the point where the truth can no longer stay hidden. They have been fighting something inside themselves, emotions they thought they buried, wounds they never healed, guilt they never confronted, longing they never expressed, realizations they never allowed themselves to face. And all of it has been echoing through your spirit because the bond was never severed, only paused. My beloved child, heaven is now preparing to lift the final veil, and the truth will not come as a whisper. It will arrive like a revelation that shakes your entire emotional foundation. But do not fear. You are ready. You have grown. You have healed past the version of yourself who once would have broken under this knowledge. Heaven is not revealing this to confuse you, but to position you. You are being aligned with clarity, not chaos. You are being aligned with purpose, not pain. You are being aligned with truth, not illusions. And this truth, this one, will open a door you always sensed but never fully understood. Something connected to your destiny has begun to turn toward you again, not from nostalgia, but from divine design. And as heaven stands at the edge of your future with the next revelation in hand, your soul can already feel its weight. My beloved child, and now I am ready to expose what you were never told. My beloved child, take a deep breath, because this is the moment heaven has been leading you toward since the very first tear you cried, the moment when the last veil lifts and everything that was confusing, painful, unfinished, or unexplainable finally aligns into a truth so powerful your spirit will feel its echo long after these words leave the page. You have carried a weight in your chest for so long that you forgot what it feels like to breathe without fear, doubt, memories, or emotional shadows pressing against your ribs. You learned to survive instead of live, to cope instead of feel, to pretend instead of break, and through it all, heaven held your spirit quietly, waiting for you to reach the strength required to face the revelation that has been waiting behind the curtain of your destiny. My child, nothing that happened to you was random. Not the heartbreaks that shattered your innocence, not the friendships that dissolved without reason, not the sudden endings that felt unfair, not the emotional storms you weathered alone, not even the silence heaven kept when you begged for answers. Every moment was part of a divine refinement that shaped you into someone capable of holding this truth without drowning in it. And here it is, the person whose energy has been tied to yours, the one you felt without seeing, the one whose emotions spilled into your spirit, the one heaven separated you from, the one your dreams kept hinting at, the one whose presence lingered inside you even when you tried to shut the door. This soul was never just a chapter. They were a thread woven into your destiny long before either of you understood what destiny even meant. You felt it the first time your spirits crossed paths, even if your mind denied it. They felt it too, even if their fear buried it. But because the timing was broken, because their wounds were unhealed, because your heart was too open and theirs was too guarded, heaven had to intervene and separate the paths before both of your souls collapsed under the weight of something neither of you were ready to carry. But separation did not end the connection, it deepened it. Silence did not erase the bond, it purified it. Distance did not kill the energy, it protected it. And while you were healing, they were awakening. While you were letting go, they were facing truths they avoided for years. While you were rebuilding your spirit, they were breaking open for the first time.
Heaven has been working on both of you simultaneously, shaping, softening, maturing, tearing down ego, clearing emotional blind spots, and dissolving spiritual interference. Everything you felt these past weeks, the heaviness, the sudden memories, the emotional waves, the sense that something was shifting, was because their soul finally cracked open in a way heaven had been waiting for. They have realized things they never understood before. They have confronted emotions they once hid. They have felt guilt for what they didn't say, regret for what they didn't do, longing for what they tried to ignore, and recognition of what heaven has been whispering to them in their still moments. Your soul was never accidental in their journey. My beloved child, this revelation is not meant to push you backward, nor is it meant to force anything, it is meant to free you. You are no longer living blind to the truth heaven shielded from you for your own protection. You now understand why your spirit could never fully disconnect. You now understand why certain feelings resurfaced. You now understand why heaven paused instead of ending. And here is the final truth. Heaven is now placing the next step into your hands, not theirs, not destinies, not fates, yours. You are no longer a wounded version of yourself reacting from pain. You are a healed, conscious, spiritually awakened soul standing at a doorway heaven refused to open until you were strong enough to choose from a place of clarity instead of hurt. What happens next is not predetermined. It is aligned, but not forced. The bond is real, but not binding. The connection is divine, but not restrictive. The future is open, but guided. Heaven is giving you the power of choice with full truth, not half-truths. You now hold the understanding you were once too tender to carry. And with this understanding, you are stepping into a future that will not resemble your past in any way.
Whether your paths merge again or simply bless each other from afar, your destiny will rise either way. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is broken beyond divine repair. My beloved child, and now the secret stands in your hands to choose what your spirit is ready for next.